All right, folks, welcome to What's Your Story. And with me, a dude that I have, man, he's done videos for so long. He's been part of my life in this such a weird internet way. It's just a kind of a strange thing. We get a chance to actually be able to talk face to face and do this conversation like this, my friend. Brandon Farris, my friend. What's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
The journey from homeless comedian to YouTube sensation has been quite the roller coaster ride for you, my friend. So I thought we'd sit down, let's chat about that and unpack it a little bit.
Sure. There's a lot to unpack. You let me know where you want me to start.
Well, we'll just kind of do some helicopter stuff and let folks dive in a little bit deeper on their own because you're right. We could do a whole documentary on this kind of stuff. So,
True.
let's go back to the beginning, right? The homeless comedian elements, the doing videos out of your car phase and that kind of thing. Just talk a little bit about people, how, like what got you into that situation, and then kind of like what drove you to put content on YouTube.
Yeah. I was doing YouTube before I was living in my car. My sister tagged me in the ALS Cold Water Challenge, Ice Bucket Challenge, I think in 2014. And so I felt the need to upload my response video, started a YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first video I uploaded. I got like 74,000 views, my first ever comedy video, but it was like 98% disliked. So it wasn't a great start for my comedy. It was kind of a punch in the face. So I was doing YouTube for a couple years off and on. It wasn't until I decided to take it really serious. And I was like, I got to be around the people who are doing it. And I wanted to do movies and stuff like that. So I wanted to move to LA. I didn't have a place in LA. I didn't know how to get a place, but I had a car. So I was like, I'm just going. I'm just going to do it. If I don't, I'll never go. So I went down there. Didn't know even where I was going to park my car the night I got there. I found out where you're not supposed to park your car a couple times. And then, so the whole goal was just make content. I was vlogging daily for a bit. Kind of the idea was I want to vlog my way to success. Mm-hmm. That was kind of the idea. And it eventually morphed into, things would happen at work and I would just talk about that when I got off work and I was in my car, because there's not much to do in your car when you don't really have a place to go. So I had to find ways to keep myself entertained. So I just started doing that, making videos about my day, things that would happen in the car. A lot of weird stuff happens when you live in your car in LA. So a lot of content like that happened. And so it was kind of, it wasn't like I fell onto bad times and had to become homeless. I try to make that apparent to people. I had a job. I could have got roommates, but I wanted to do this acting class and I wanted to do this improv school. And so I had to make a choice. Can I do these things that I really think will help me and the things that I always wanted to do? Or can I live comfortably in an apartment? And I said, I'm willing to live uncomfortably to chase this dream. So I purposefully lived out of my car. And then I quickly found out it's very expensive to live in your car in LA. And I couldn't take the classes anymore. And I was just doing YouTube and eventually got fired for doing it. And
well, let me ask real quick. What is the family and friends thinking that finding out that what do you mean you don't have an apartment yet? What do you mean you're in your car? Like, you mean it's not something you can totally keep quiet when you're making videos daily of inside your car.
Yeah, I think my family got the brunt end of that because it does look like, why aren't you helping your son? When, but there's just so much to it. My mom and dad, my mom lives in Arkansas. My dad lives in Missouri. So I have no family here. I have zero family. I do now, my wife and her family. But at the time, no family. I didn't know anyone here. I just drove here. So when I left Arkansas, I was living with my mom. And I told her, don't you ever let me move back in. No matter how much I beg, no matter how much I plead, I was burning my boats at that point. So I told him I'm not allowed. You're not allowed to let me come back no matter what happens, even if I'm homeless. And that ended up happening. And she tried. And so my family's very supportive. And I would check in. So they knew I was doing okay, but they weren't, excited about their son living in a car, but they understood.
Gotcha. Okay, so how long until like the first? 'Cause I remember the spider video for sure. 100% remember the spider video, but it may not have been the first one. What was the first one that sort of kind of like got bonkers for you, where I mean, I don't know where the real Brandon and the persona begin and end, but people probably are like, because that was our reaction in our household as we're watching some of the things that were transpiring. So talk a little bit about that early few videos and kind of like that. I want to say a spark, but that's kind of what it was, as far as we could see.
Yeah. The earliest video that I can think of that kind of shocked me, that kind of jumped way out of, what I was normal view wise, was a video I did. It was like late at night. I went to get a McFlurry from McDonald's, and they just didn't mix the Oreos in the McFlurry. They just piled them on top. So I just ranted about it. And that overnight popped off, and I was kind of shocked. It didn't really go anywhere. But the next video that kind of blew up was a video where I call it burning the cleaning lady, where I was a pizza cook at Yard House, and I turned on the pizza oven, not thinking, and there was a cleaning lady on top of the pizza oven, and I knew she was there. I looked right at her, and I was like, "Good morning," and I turned on the pizza at 600 degrees, and then I left. And the manager comes up to me and is like, "You turned on a pizza oven with someone on top of it," and I was like, "Yeah, you're welcome." I didn't understand why this was such a bad thing. So that kind of brushed over, but during my lunch break, I was like, that's good content. So I just told the story about it, but I was wearing my uniform that said Yard House on it.
Oh, yeah, there it was.
That video kind of blew up a little bit, and the higher ups at Yard House saw it, which is eventually, what got me fired. But from there, the video that started everything was learning to knit. And after I was fired, I drove to Sacramento, and my friend at the time, my wife now, offered for me to stay with her. I slept in my car, but I had a house that I could go into, shower and stuff like that, and still making videos. And she decided to go watch a show, and I was like, I'll stay. I'll watch our daughter. And I was like, I'm gonna follow a knitting tutorial, just react to it. And that overnight was the one video that started it all. Yeah.
If we could time capsule this, get you a DeLorean and drive it at least at 88 miles an hour and get you to go back, what would current Brandon Farris goes over to the car, taps on the glass? What would he say?
You're on the right track.
Oh, awesome. Is it?
I wouldn't change it.
What is it you think people have? I mean, I'm not trying to tell people they need to do something even as extreme as you're doing, but I think there are extreme steps that we have to take, or decisions that we have to make, depending on what your passion and your drive is. What do you think some of the hurdles are, and what would be your advice to getting over those hurdles for folks?
In the sense of content creation?
Yeah. Well, even just
success in general.
Yeah, because I think it's just content creation. I think that people, I mean, I've had a book idea, I'll piddle around with it, but it never gets to, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't quit the full-time job to go, all right, well, or I don't sacrifice this, or I don't know. We could list off things, but I think you get the general gist of what I'm trying to get at for folks.
Yeah. Right now, when people ask me, what should I do? I'm going to quit my job and do full-time. I say, well, how much content are you making? Do you need full-time? Like, are you able to do it? Because I was doing it working 2 full-time jobs. and then filming, and then editing, and then uploading. I always tell people, if you want to do YouTube, you want to do content creation, you want to write a book, you want to do this, get a job that will pay your essential bills. That way, money is not it's not up here. You're not thinking about it. You're not worried about it. Your bills are paid. You don't live lavishly. And the rest of that time is focused completely on this, writing a book, making YouTube videos, live streaming, podcast, and you put everything into it until you need to quit. I think everyone's situation is different.
Sure.
I'm a very all or nothing person. And I do think in this case, some people could quit their job. My job was a crutch. And I recognized that it was comfortable. I was very comfortable. And I knew if I was comfortable, I wouldn't strive or do the things that needed to be done. If I put myself in an uncomfortable situation, I'd want to find a way out. And so that's what I did. I burned my boats. I made sure I'm in this car. And I told myself this, I'm willing to stay in my car and live in my car for the next 15 years. If that means after 15 years, I get to live my dream of making comedy my full time. So
Wow.
I kind of gave myself that, but I don't think everyone needs that. At the basic of it, money gets in the way a lot of times.
Sure.
Find something, do a part-time job, live with your parents, sell your car, do the things you need to do to make sure your bills are paid, kids are taken care of if you have them, food's on the table, and then anything extra goes to building. You build your podcast, you write that book, you stay up late until you need to quit.
I want to get right off of that because that's exactly what I was thinking too. The stay up late
Mhm.
part, right? So, because you were talking about how you were juggling the jobs and doing a video a day or whatever. How was the schedule like for you, or how are you? Were you like were you like writing down notes and ideas and um, I know for me, a lot of times it's like it's the time in between before I'm doing this. That's the time that's the value of the time I'm spending planning, thinking about it, organizing myself. So whenever you've got the shooting phase, it's organized and focused, and I get it done. And then you have maybe editing phase and post production type stuff. But what was that part for you as far as managing all that? 'Cause I think that's one of the things that trips people up is they don't know how to manage all of that.
Yeah, I didn't either. It
Mm,
definitely comes with practice.
sure.
I'm I, it's tough because I'm I understand that I think differently than other people. Like, not better or worse, just different. Like, I understand me and my sister are two different people. Where I'm hyper focused. Like, if I'm on something, I'm gonna do that thing for a long time. So I understand that I go about things differently. And when it comes to managing my time, sometimes it looks like I'm good at it, but I'm not. I'm really not. And it was very stressful early on. Um, I did try to build my content around not preparing because I wanted to be able to be on. So I told myself I'm not going to write jokes anymore. I'm not going to prepare jokes. I'm going to have the topic in my head, drop it until I press record, and then let it flow. And so I've kind of built that to where I can just improv a video to eliminate, having to prepare. And I did that purposefully because I know the preparation. It is a lot. It's more than the filming. It's more than the editing. So I don't do much preparation work before. Um, but yeah, managing the time of filming and then editing and then uploading and then responding and building that community on top of doing a job, maintaining relationships. Most of the time, something's going to take a back seat.
Mm,
And that's where the hard part is. You have to decide who's taking the back seat. Is it going to be family? Is it going to be this other career? Or is it going to be the dream? And
right.
uh, um, I'm not ashamed to say it. At some point, I did put work above family, and it showed. I was even when I had so-called made it in an apartment with my wife and our daughter, I would film every day. I would come home, but I'd have to edit that video. And sometimes that would take, I wouldn't get to spend any time with my family most days. I'd have to stay late to film, stay late to edit. Sometimes I'd be up till 2 in the morning to make sure the video uploaded. So managing that is tough. You're gonna have to prioritize something or someone above certain things, and that can get tough.
Your the friendship with your now wife, your friend, well, Maria does YouTubing as well. So,
Mhm.
um, how has it been like for her to be on that journey with you? Like, is it because she's almost like, I mean, it's very clear that she's your rock through all of this because she's been there since, for so long. Um,
True.
when it, because you're talking about that difficult time where like the priorities kind of get out of whack and things like that, and that kind of, how does how has her voice in and through all that time changed for you?
She's I couldn't ask for a better supportive partner. It might come from her being in the industry. She understands it. She
Mhm.
knows what goes into it. She truly understands needing to have this video done, the amount of time it takes to edit, because she does all these things herself.
Sure.
But during those hard times, not once was she ever like, "You don't choose us." She never put it back on me, and it created an atmosphere that was light and easy for me to just let the idea flow, and then understand that, if I don't have the idea, it'll come. I may not be able to make dinner tonight, but I'm not going to get in trouble about it. I'm not going to get, you know, she's totally understanding of that. So I'm beyond blessed. I can understand how it can get difficult. But my wife completely understood every step of the way. Still does. There's still nights I don't come home until midnight because I need to get this done. She takes care of both of our children now.
Mm,
So um, I'm just really lucky because I haven't had to deal with the, I guess, opposite of what that would be.
right. What is how has Brandon dealt with the Brandon Farris persona and, public getting recognized in public at some point and that kind of thing? How has that process been for you?
I It's a double-edged sword because I like it.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, you get into content creation because at a deep level, you just want to be acknowledged, and that's what it is. You get acknowledged in public. Um, on the other hand, I'm terribly anxious about everything, like interviews, talking to random people. Like I eventually calm down, but I'm anxious about everything. If I'm going to some place and I don't know what the parking situation is like, I'm stressing 2 days before because I'm like, I don't know where am I going to park.
Hmm.
So double-edged sword that it makes me nervous to walk into places knowing that I might get noticed. And I also really love it when people come up to me. So
Mm.
it's tough to navigate.
Right. Right. When I saw your interview, you guys were on TV together and had a great conversation there, quite a while ago. And as it is as evolved and that persona and ended up in the public eye and those kinds of things, and I think that's another area where people can get really tripped up and that kind of thing. What would be some of your advice on, the spotlight falling on you like that? Because I think, like, you're right. A lot of people may want some of that attention, but then once you have it, it's like, be careful what you ask for. You just might get it. What would be some of your advice there?
Yeah, I think people will, how you see like paparazzi and A-list celebrities, big names,
Mhm.
and you don't think about it. You don't necessarily think about what the person is feeling. You're just seeing this interaction between paparazzi and this person blow up at paparazzi, and you're like, such an awful person. Until you get a tiny, tiny taste of it, because I'm nowhere near that, nowhere near. but I have a tiny, tiny taste of it where you walk in a place and you almost can't be yourself because you notice people recognize you, or the thought of, you know, I there's a chance someone here knows who I am. So I have to almost perform anytime I go out, go to Target with my kids and this and that. You don't want to do something that's off brand, which I don't normally do, but like you don't at the deepest level, sometimes I'll be driving, realize that maybe what if someone drives by, recognizes me, and I'm sitting there thinking about something with like this angry look on my face. I have to think about stuff like that because what would they think about that?
Hmm.
So it's weird. I might be overthinking, so I can only give you my experience from it, and I'm very anxious and I think of everything. I think of others. What do they think of me? I'm a huge people pleaser. So that's like my entire personality. I'm just worried what people will think. So that's been rough for me because I feel like I'm not that person in the videos all the time. I just can't be. That's just too much energy. I'm this. I'm this most of the day, low energy. And I think I'm afraid, I was early on afraid to show people that. So I can't speak to someone else who may not feel this anxious, but people who do feel anxious, getting that spotlight just accentuates the anxiety for me. It double-edged sword. You'll love it and you'll hate it.
Yeah, but see, the irony is, many you mentioned A-list celebrities or whatever other folks. It's like the true them is almost like more outlandish or more off-putting than their persona, and it's
True.
sort of like that's the alienation of the customer, for lack of a better term. It's like you don't want to turn off your audience. And yet
Yeah.
you're like, well, I don't want my audience to be disappointed. They fall in love with this sort of like a part of who I am, even though that may just be a very small part of who I am. So I don't want them to be disappointed if they were to interact with me and see me on like a low energy moment, even though it's just who I am. So I find that to be part of what I think makes you so interesting, Brandon. I think it makes you more genuine, and I think that's something I think a lot of folks do struggle with is how to stay authentic through that journey.
Mm.
Is that a pretty good adjective for what you're trying to discuss? Is that struggle to stay authentic?
Yeah. I definitely went through that early on.
Hmm.
Um, because once you get a little taste of what you've been wanting, the attention, the views, people understand you as this one person. So people understand me as this high energy, just off the wall person, which I know I wasn't. So for a long time, I was hesitant to go live because I understand my energy isn't always there and it's going to dip. It normally does. I have a short window of that energy. And I was afraid because I didn't want to just sit there and talk like this, build a genuine connection. I felt like I had to be on. Um, because I would get those comments of like, do something funny or why are you depressed? And I'm like, I'm not. This is just who I am. You just see an exaggerated version of my energy. So I have overcome that
Hmm.
miles away from that. I have, a behind the scenes channel where I show everything. I show time with my kids, which my energy is different, time with my wife, behind the scenes of the videos here. Um, which is very much this energy. I don't feel the need to entertain. I just talk like this. If I'm down, I talk about it. So I think I've gotten over it, and I think people understand. Like, I'm funny. I could be funny, but I'm not that all the time. So it is a struggle, and it was early on, but you got to get past it if you want to grow with your audience.
How was the process of ideas. So maybe it was phase 2, right? You've gotten over the hump, you found some success, the channel, the videos, these kinds of things. What was the process to come up with some of these ideas? Or is it, I mean, the ball pit, the glitter bombs, the just some of the shenanigans? Was there like a running list and it's like, okay, we're going to kind of put these on a board and we'll pick them out? And I mean, what was the process with that? Was it just you and Maria? Was it a team? How was this process?
No, I think a lot of people are disappointed when I tell them my process. Um, I have seen how big YouTubers do it, and like I said, I work differently. If I script a video, it doesn't work. I've done it. I've scripted a couple. I've tried it. It just doesn't work. I don't work that way. So this is how I explain it, and a lot of people just don't understand it. It's weird. It's a little woo-woo, but I go on walks and I try to just clear my mind because you're always, as a content creator, thinking of, what can I do? What's the idea?
Mm-hmm.
And you're forcing it. And I go on a walk. I try to clear my mind of no ideas, empty it, and just keep telling myself that the perfect idea will come at the perfect time and I'll have the perfect amount of energy for it. My job is just to live my life and I'll know it when it's here. And I've done that since I lived in my car and I'd be at work. Something would happen and it just clicks. It's not tangible. It's not something I can say, do this. It's just something that has always clicked with practice, of
But
course.
how do you manage that? Like, do you get your phone, phone call Maria? I got it. We're going to get 1,000 ball pit balls and fill the room for the ball. I mean, like, I mean, how does it sort of like come together then with I mean, brother, you have come up with some crazy crap, man. There's some crazy stuff
Very.
going on.
You'd be surprised. Most of it happens in the moment. So the
Okay.
ball pit idea was something I wanted to do for a long time.
Okay.
And it's kind of always in the back of my head.
Okay.
And then I saw a video on YouTube. I was watching 5-minute crafts so I could, find some that would work for a video, which is about as much preparation as I do. And the idea clicked. This would work with a ball pit. So I got on Amazon and I bought as much as I could buy and then just waited until they came in, did the video. But for the most part, it's just if something crazy happens, it's mostly not planned. It happens spontaneously.
Okay.
But
I totally got that part. I was trying to figure out the logistics of we're gonna
yeah,
make a glitter bomb. Order the stuff for the glitter bomb. It's like what? It's like it takes
there's
4 days to get the glitter or whatever the case may be.
there's no I do have a team, but there's no team for ideation, for ordering. I do
Okay.
everything. So if the idea comes, ooh, glitter bomb, yeah, I get online, buy glitter, and then I can't do anything about that video today, so do something else. It's very minimal,
Hmm.
like just purchasing what I think I need, over purchasing, under purchasing. That makes it funny, but yeah,
That must be a fun tax return too to see all the write-offs of glitter bombs and ball pit material.
it's an odd list. Yes.
That would be great, man. That's fantastic. So, okay, so let's transition into like, because it almost becomes like you're on the treadmill, and it's like, how do you manage your
Mhm.
expectations? Like, I don't know what I don't even know what the appropriate number is, so don't get insulted. But let's just say it's 1 million views. At some point, you're like, can you perpetuate it, or the pressure you have to put on yourself, or you'd get disappointed, or of just you know what I mean? Because I'm trying to figure out like how do you maintain the maintenance of a level, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
oh, that's not good enough. That's not crazy enough. That's not zany enough. I mean, because you don't seem that. You seem like you're just kind of just a regular dude coming up with random ideas. Uh, yeah. So
Yeah.
how does that kind of keep going though? Because I mean, some things you've done, I get it because it's in the same vein of the craziness. There's other things I would think that you would pop in your brain, it just wouldn't be, for lack of a better term, crazy enough.
Yeah. There have been periods of my content career where I'm like, no, I got to go big. I got to be crazy. I got to make this crazier. But I realize that the more I do that, the more disingenuous even to my character, the high energy character that is. Like, usually the best things happen spontaneously. So I like to think of it as when I get an idea, I do it right then and there with what I have available. Unless, of course, it's fill the room with ball pit balls, which is rare. But for the most part, do what I can with what I have. And that's when magic happens. That's when funny stuff happens for
Right.
me. I had to get away from that. How do I make it bigger? Because eventually it just becomes gimmicky. And I don't want it to feel like I'm a YouTuber. All my videos, I want to have the feeling of, oh, it's just a guy in his bedroom that came up with this idea. So that's kind of the feeling I go for. So if I make it outlandish for the sake of making it outlandish and there's no reason for it to be that outlandish, it kind of comes off as a little gimmicky to me. So I typically try to get away from that. I have no expectation for views. We all want to go viral, and I understand that I won't every time. I know what works, and but there's a period where videos work, and you know what they work, but you can't do those forever. People will stop watching. They'll get bored. So there is a period of experimenting where you're going to get drastically lower views, but you have to be okay with that. I call it getting the crap out. So I just come up with this idea, and I'm like, this is different. I don't do stuff like this. Upload it. Well, they didn't like that. All right, well, I won't do that anymore. But now I know that idea doesn't work. Do something else. Until you find something else that works, continue to do that thing. I try not to live off metrics of views. It is you could spiral pretty quick.
Let me hit real quick with what you just said, because Alec Harmosy talks about this a little bit too. With you do something, and a lot of people talk about it. They'll use terms like failure, things that don't work, right? But he says no, it's not really. It's just now you just have the experiment. So it's either going to work and give you the result you expected, or it's going to give you a result that you know does not work. Either way, that's still a success. You seem like that's kind of how you steered everything. Like, even if you did one and that one isn't one that they like, it's more like it's the response to the audience and the viewers, rather than oh, I'm a failure because I didn't blow up the glitter right this time or something. You know what I mean? Is that a pretty fair assessment of the approach?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you do some just for you? You're like, I don't even care. I literally, this is just not even, this isn't even zany Brandon. This is more like just me, but I just wanted to do this video.
When I was doing daily content, there were a couple that I was like, this isn't going to work, but this is art in the purest form for me. And I do a couple videos, and there are a handful of people who are like, of all the videos, that one's my favorite. And I'm like, interesting. It's my favorite too. And it gets, 100,000 views. So
interesting.
I do try to find places to just do stuff for me, but not on the main channel anymore.
So I think I know the answer. My audience will know this, but I think I know the answer. You like Bob Ross.
I've done a lot of Bob Ross.
You've done a lot of ours. So he's part of my spirit animal. So this is usually my outro for many of my live streams.
Bob Ross, all I do is chill. My life is a thrill, for real, Bob Ross. I be too calm for the drama. You don't want to cause a problem, I'll solve it, Bob Ross.
So, so Bob is like the OG content creator, right? He's among the OGs of these, TV hosts and things of that nature. Mr. Rogers is among the all time, Captain Kangaroos and the horror Saturday creature shows and things like that. What was it about Bob that clicked for you? It seems like you've gone back to the well for Bob a couple of times, and I'm with you, man. Those are some of my favorite ones that you've done. Not because I think they're better or worse than any of the other ones you do. It's just because I also just resonate with Bob and that challenge of painting and the speed that things are happening, whatever. And you captured that so well.
Yeah, no, you nailed it with that. It started with, I am not artistic at all, in the sense of drawing, painting, coloring, nothing. Everyone else in my family, professional. My sister is incredible. My mother, incredible. Her sister, my grandma, everyone. Even my grandpa, I remember at an early age, followed Bob Ross tutorials and would paint these beautiful paintings.
Hmm.
And I just don't have that. And so you're right. At the speed that he goes, and the accuracy, I found it would be funny, someone who doesn't know what he's doing, to follow the person who knows what he's doing, but he just goes so fast and he does it so well. I just felt like it was a funny contradiction.
Mhm.
Like me
Yeah,
and Bob,
exactly.
his low presence and his energy of just like, I'm calm no matter what, and mine,
Yeah.
like, I'm manic no matter what.
Yeah.
It just created this incredible duo of videos that I love doing, but like I said, eventually you do enough, people get bored of them. So I had to retire Bob, but he's a
It's good
special place
stuff,
in my
though.
heart.
It's good
Yeah.
stuff. There'll be another one. There'll be something else that'll happen.
You know there will.
It's just such a sweet thing. Maybe there's another creator like that. Maybe folks will give you that name of another. Maybe not painting. Maybe it'll be something else like that. I don't know of one off the top of my head, but I don't know. So after the viral phase, go ahead.
Have you done any of the paintings?
No, I'm
Try it.
it is I'm in the equal absence of talent that you have expressed. I don't have the high energy silliness of it all, so I don't know exactly. I got to be honest. I think people would enjoy watching me try, but it would just. I don't know that I can give it the. I would just be a pale knockoff version of what you've already done, my friend. I mean, I got to be honest. It's kind of
No,
how I see it. I
you'd
feel like it
be
would.
your unique self, and it would come
Well,
out excellent, and you'd be so surprised.
Yeah. We'll see. Look. I'm not going to rule
Yeah.
anything out. These people are crazy. Who knows what? Like I say, spite funding has come my way a couple times. So Lord knows what else could come around. You never know. There's some guy out there right now going, you know what? I will pay for Pops to just put on the wig and go to work. So we'll see.
I didn't know paying was an option. I'm going to sneak in.
Oh,
You're going to get a Bob Ross painting.
I'll have to ship it to you.
Yes, you will. I'll put it on my patchy wall over here.
That's great. So, so let's we'll use the cliche now, like circle back, which is something I used to say, and now it's like weird. People take things from you. You've made it in the sense of you got a lot of views. YouTubing is for real. There's even some money coming in. Blah blah blah. Phone call back to the family. What's that sound like?
Oddly enough, when I went viral and, talking to my mom and my dad, my sister, yeah, like we knew you would. Like it was very like they were already there. They were just waiting for me to get there.
Okay.
So incredibly supportive. They were like, well, duh. Like we knew you were going to get there. They're obviously overjoyed, but it wasn't a shock to them as much as it was to me, probably.
Everyone at the Elk Lodge had already seen you eat a spider, so they figured, it's going to be fine. Yeah, we'll work it out.
Yeah, I don't recommend that. How much do I have to pay for you to do that?
Let's do that again. Yeah. You're going to pay for me to do that?
I'm gonna pay for you to do it.
Oh my. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the offers are. Spider? Ooh, that would be rough. I have a texture problem with food. Like for me, that's one of the things is texture. It's like, oh.
Well, this is a spider texture, so you're not gonna like it.
That is not going to be good. Yeah, there was a lot of talk about that because I have one on my show that we did with chewing old trading card gum.
Oh,
I'll show you that clip. So this is unexpected. We had a giveaway in my nerddom of some old. This is actually a Return of the Jedi package of cards from 1983. The gentleman asked, "Can I come on the show?" His nickname on YouTube is Padawannabe. So he's opening the cards, and then this is actually what happened. Okay.
So I stacked all the pieces here. We're gonna.
Oh, he went for the hardcore. I wish I could see
Oh,
Loki's
wow.
Padawannabe is the
Dude.
boss.
You're the boss, brother.
You're the boss. We're clipping this. This will be. So anyway, long story short, the Padawannabe challenge was born of people that would chew the trading card gum that was at least 30 to 40 years old, which really I've done twice, and it's really not as bad as you would expect. It's almost like just a Tums or something. It's just pretty bland. But I think it's a
Oh, I can
mental thing
imagine.
for a lot of folks. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would totally do it. I mean,
Oh yeah, it wouldn't phase you, brother. I've seen the stuff that's gone on in your yeah. So
it's true. I didn't know it was a challenge, or I would have done it.
well, I mean, I have to send you a pack of gum and just then we'll get you to do it. Would have done that.
I'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is fascinating to kind of reminisce about the journey that you've been on and that kind of thing. What is it now? Where are you at now in this grand scheme? You've been doing this for quite a while. I'm not saying you get tired or bored of doing it, but at some point it's like, do you see yourself evolving into maybe, I mean, you mentioned the other channel and be able to capture some of the family elements, other pieces of your persona and personality. What else is on the plate for you that gives you joy and happiness in all this?
Yeah. There have been times, I think with everyone, where I'm like, I'm done. I'm quitting. I just don't want to do it anymore. And I get in those. But as long as you keep growing and keep finding things that kind of spark you again, you come right back to it. And lately I've found live streaming. I've done one, but for the past 2 months, that's all I've been focused on, like the camera, the quality, the computers. And it's really sparked me again because it's a way for me to communicate deeper with my community in real time and have them be a part of the video instead of just watching it separately.
Hmm.
So right now I feel like I've built out everything I can with the main channel, and then behind the scenes of the main channel and extended versions of the main channel. And I think the only logical pivot for me was live streaming, talking directly to the community instead of at the community. So I'm pumped about that. It's got me reignited to, ideas are flowing now. So there may be a time in the future where I don't do videos anymore and it's all just live stream, which I wouldn't be mad at.
Brandon Farris live. That's super cool.
Yeah.
What about a book? What about jotted down this as a biography and really kind of getting even more transparent, pen to paper, and more of a legacy type thing?
I've never really thought about a book. I kind of think about my content and my daily vlogs as kind of like the memoir.
Right.
My sister is an author and she writes, and I, at some level, don't want to be that brother who's like, what are you into? Or I'm going to do that then. I'm
I got you. Okay.
I'm going to take that spotlight because she's 1,000 times better at writing than I am. It's not like I would be able to. It's just not my vein of creativity, I think.
Well, I tell you, brother, I've always been a fan, and I've always thought to myself, when he packs it in, he's just going to be kind of quiet. He's going to shave off that beard, and just no one will ever know. He'll be in like Wisconsin grocery store, standing next to him at the AMP, and go, I think I know that guy, but I don't know that guy.
That's the dream.
Well, listen, my friend, thank you so much for spending so much time with everybody. I hope you guys, folks, everything is in the description, all of the links to the socials and all that, so you can connect with this guy. And if nothing else, just subscribe and hit the bell, and just kind of put it on those daily moments where you need a smile, you need a laugh, you want to just kind of have an escape from things, or maybe you just need a crazy idea to do to some other YouTuber, not me, some other YouTuber. But yeah, it's out there. But thanks to Brandon and his team for setting this up and spending time with me. It's been great. Folks, until next time, be blessed. I am Pops.